and we are here for episode 13. How can I increase my confidence?
Some people almost think it's like a personality type.
Yes.
Confidence it's not a switch, it's a dial.
I remember thinking, this is going really well, it sounds really good, I look so young and cool, this is great. As I was jumping, I fell between the stage blocks, completely off the stage, totally on my bottom, hurt my leg. And I think that is a big thing that drives our confidence, is what do people think?
Our past is either helping us or hindering us when it comes to this whole thing of confidence.
It's more about we throw it away rather than losing it. Hi everyone, and welcome to The Winning Life TV. My name is Leanne Morgan.
I'm Gareth Morgan.
And we are here for episode 13. Well done to those of you who've watched or listened to every single one.
Episode 13. This will be a blessed episode, not
Absolutely.
an unlucky episode.
We don't believe in that rubbish. But yeah, we are at episode 13, and I am looking forward to getting into this conversation today, into this question, because I think it's something that crops up an awful lot in our lives. I'm just going to jump straight in with the question, and maybe it will spark a bit of a kind of casual chat beforehand, but just so that people can start to be thinking about what we're speaking about. But it's, how can I increase my confidence? How can I increase my confidence? Now, I think people kind of look at different people and say, oh, they're a very confident person, or oh, they're not very confident, or oh, I had confidence, I lost my confidence. Would you say that you are a confident person?
I would say I'm a confident person, and I know what you mean. Some people almost think it's like a personality type.
Yes, exactly.
You know, well, I'm not a confident person, and that person is a confident person, as if it's like, you know, you're a bubbly person and you're not a bubbly person.
It's like an extrovert or an introvert. Somebody might be a confident person, somebody might not be.
100%. But I think the thing with confidence is it's not a switch, it's a dial. And I talk about this in lots of things, but I think confidence, this absolutely applies. Whilst I may be a confident person, let's say the majority of the time in the majority of things, I think the closer you get to something you really care about and you want to excel in, that's when you can get a confidence crisis.
Okay, so have you got any examples? I might think of one.
Where you can think of one for me?
No, for me.
Oh.
Where maybe something funny happened, or something, you know, awkward happened, and you felt like you lost confidence, or that your confidence left in that moment. Maybe you thought you were good at something. Yeah. Go on then. Share something with us.
You being in a changing rooms. I can't remember what shop it was. And I remember, you know, wondering if you'd finished or not. Now, I saw you walk into this cubicle, and men could go into the area, so I was not in an area I shouldn't have been. So I saw you go in there, and I think I must have gone and looked at something else, and then I thought, oh, is she out yet? You know, because sometimes you can take a little bit too long. And
hey, I take the time it's needed.
And so I went outside and I said, Leanne, are you coming? And then in a few moments later, out came another woman. And I was like, oh my word. I'd gone with such confidence and said, come on, what are you playing at? And
it wasn't even
you. So in that moment, I lost confidence in my decision making.
I don't remember that at all.
It was a while ago.
Yeah, I think, yeah, but...
Well, obviously, you weren't even there.
No, I wasn't there. I was in a different cubicle.
The woman remembers it, whatever her name was. Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant. I can think of one that happened with me. And again, these are funny how these are external situations, aren't they? That kind of other people look at. So I remember once we were doing a youth camp before we had children. We'd go there kind of every year, and I was involved in kind of the singing part. And we were on stage blocks, and I was jumping up and down. And I thought in my head, I remember thinking, so this is a bit more of like pride comes before a fall, probably more than the confidence thing. I remember thinking, this is going really well, it sounds really good, I look so young and cool, this is great. And then you can guess what happened. As I was jumping, I fell between the stage blocks, completely off the stage, totally on my bottom, hurt my leg. But of course, you get back up and you're like, no, everything's fine.
You've just got to keep jumping. You've got to keep jumping as if it was planned.
But I remember the following evening, I felt really like lacking in confidence to get back up, because my initial thought was, what do people think?
Yeah.
And I think that is a big thing that drives our confidence, is what do people think? We're always driven by what others think of us, what their opinion is. If they think we can do it, do they think we're stupid? Do they think we're okay, cool, young enough, good enough, whatever? So based on that is where I will find my confidence. But
definitely. Sorry.
No, I was going to say that's something that we're going to look at, is that self-consciousness can lead to a lack of confidence, but it's outside in, which is not how we are wired. So how can I increase my confidence?
Well, again, I think it's important to almost separate or understand what confidence is.
Yes.
So whenever I've talked about confidence environments where I go in and I coach and I work with people, especially in high performance environments where confidence is key, in elite sporting environments, confidence is everything.
Yeah.
It literally is everything. I would go as far as to say it's 20% competency, 80% confidence. So you can be highly skilled and have a natural talent for something.
Yeah.
But if you don't have the confidence, it's like having a car with no fuel. You can have an amazing brand of car, whatever brand, you see as an amazing car. But if you don't have the fuel, then what use is it to you? You're not going to experience the functionality and the performance of that. And so confidence is trust. Now we'll get into this because there's it goes quite deep, but I want to talk first of all about self-trust. So let's use the example that I gave, the kind of funny example, but you can apply any example to it. So, of course, the next time we go shopping, me making that mistake is in my mind. I now don't trust my decision making.
Yeah.
Because there's an experience I've had, there's evidence of me seeing myself make a mistake. Now that self-consciousness undermines my self-confidence. I'm lacking in trust.
Yes.
And so the challenge comes, the more experiences I have of me not following through in a way that I can trust, falling short, making a mistake, not following through on something. It comes down to, again, when people set themselves a goal. If the last 10 goals that I've set, 9 of them I've not kept, then I've got 9 examples of the fact that I can't trust myself, which undermines my confidence. So in order to increase our confidence, if we flip that around, I've got to build self-trust.
Yeah.
And the way I build self-trust is creating more experiences of me seeing myself following through, doing the right thing. And so, the easiest way to kind of rectify the mistake I made with you going into the wrong into the cubicle and then me going and calling out the wrong person is to put myself in a similar situation and to get it right. And every time I do that, from that moment on, I'm building self-trust. I can trust myself to make a good decision and a right decision.
That's a really good point, because we will naturally avoid going back into that situation or a similar situation because we don't want to face the same problem. But a true MVP will say, I'm going to deliberately put myself back into that situation to replay it. And it might fail again, but I'm going to just keep trying. But that takes a lot of focus, energy. It takes a lot of discipline, commitment to do that, to build confidence, because you're essentially saying, if I go back into that could happen again. Now, obviously, we used a funny analogy of you in the wrong changing room with me, etc. But actually, this can be something quite serious for people who've, gone into a situation, been knocked. How you get the strength to go back in there again and do it again. Maybe it's in your work situation, in a relationship. It could be in your family. It could be in your parenting, however that might be, where I've tried this and I got knocked. I don't think I've got the strength to do it again. But like we were saying, an MVP, if you're really going to grow and develop it, you're going to have to deliberately put yourself through that again and until it happens. But it's a difficult thing to do.
It is a difficult thing to do, and I think the way, therefore, of trying to kind of challenge yourself, like you said, and you rightly said, we've got to pursue changing that story. It's a story we tell ourselves, you know.
Yes.
And if I'm telling myself I'm going to make the same mistake again, or you know, I fail at this kind of a thing, then of course we're just going to repeat that story. So it all comes down to, what's the story I'm going to tell myself based upon what I believe. Now, if I, like I said, we can talk self-trust, which of course applies to every human being. But when it comes to having a relationship with God, so there's somebody else involved in the story, we realize that actually there's a confidence, a depth of confidence that we have access to. Now, again, we have access to it. Just the fact we have access doesn't mean we use it.
Yeah, and that's a good point.
But we have access to it. So what happens when I become a follower of Christ is the Bible teaches us that it doesn't just change our present or our future, but it actually changes our past. So if you think about it this way, our past is either helping us or hindering us when it comes to this whole thing of confidence.
That's good.
I.e., my past... True. Going into the wrong change rooms, right? But the amazing thing is when I now am in Christ, the Bible talks about, I all of a sudden have a new heritage. I have a new set of experiences to draw upon. And so actually I carry the confidence of Christ. Now, Christ Jesus achieved a whole lot of stuff that you and I could never even dream of going through. Ultimately, of going through the cross and rising again. He conquered the greatest of enemies, the greatest of challenges, and came out victorious. Yeah. Now, when my identity is in Christ, I now have that new heritage, which means, and again, Paul talks about this in Colossians 1:27, that we carry Christ in us, the hope of all glory. So think about it this way. The goal that we want to have the confidence for is a glorious outcome.
Yeah.
So we carry the confidence, the hope, the assurance of producing that outcome through Christ. So if that goal is God-inspired, it's aligned with the assignment that we have, with the pathway that we're involved with. It could be sport, it could be education, it could be raising a family, whatever that thing is. It could be creating a new product or an invention. So that we've got a clear dream, a clear goal. If we believe that's our highest point of contribution and impact, then actually I have a depth of resource to unlock a confidence based upon Christ's heritage, what he's accomplished. And that is now in me. I know this is a mind-blowing concept, but it's absolute truth. And it also helps us to realize following Jesus, being a Christian, it's not subscribing to a religion. In fact, it's not subscribing to a religion. It's about unlocking the potential that has an impact upon your everyday, to unlock those deep desires that you carry, which God actually has put there.
So I think that then, how you've explained that, helps us see those verses in Hebrews where it talks about do not throw away your confidence. Because how many times have we said, and I've said it, I just lost confidence. I just lost my confidence. You know, things like, I think about the kids when they were learning to swim, you know, having their swimming lessons when they were younger, and something might not have quite worked out. And I remember one of my kids saying, I've lost my confidence because something didn't work out in that situation. But actually, if we're seeing confidence as the way you've just described it, which is absolutely right, actually, it's more about we throw it away rather than losing it. Because throwing it away is something we have to consciously do and go, I'm choosing not to be confident in that situation. I'm choosing to listen to the narrative in my mind that tells me I can't, I won't, and I'll fail. And that's just not who I am. It's not my character. So that's throwing it away. It's not, somebody took it off me. Because nobody can actually take your confidence away. No. They can't. People can be awful to you. Situations can be brutal where you feel beaten down or worn down. But actually, they can't take your confidence away. You're in complete control.
No one can take it, but you can surrender it. Like you said, you can throw it away. And ultimately what it comes down to is buying into a lie. So, it, like you said, it's taken, or they've taken my confidence away. Where, again, I explain confidence as this, that we have access to an unlimited supply of confidence. Now, you may say, oh, but what do you mean by that, Gareth? Well, confidence is either something that you see as a booster or a builder. So a boost of confidence might be, oh, Gareth and Leanne, I listened to your podcast and it was amazing. Now I think I can go and take on the world, etc. Now,
that would be amazing if someone said that.
And nothing wrong with that. Okay, if you want to say that, by all means say that. And of course, that's our hope. And that will boost our confidence. And there's nothing wrong with that. But that won't necessarily happen every single day. Yeah. I can't rely upon that to be a consistent source of confidence. If my reliance is upon a confidence booster coming from external things, and that's what defines a booster. In other words, it's something that comes to me. It's something that's said to me.
Yeah.
It's an event or circumstances that boost my confidence. But really what we've got to get into the habit of, and MVPs learn to do this, is to be a confidence builder. In other words, I can build confidence, and I build confidence by taking my belief, and I take my goal, and then I put it together into an action.
Yeah, good.
And every time I do that, I can build that confidence. I'm building evidence to myself of this works, that I can do this. Now, do I succeed every single time? No. But as long as I don't believe that failure is a reflection of my worth, it's just simply a lesson to be learned, then I can recycle, and I can actually recycle some incredibly useful information into the process, and I can then go again. And again, this is where the MVP journey comes in, and the membership of MVP, where you can be in an environment where people won't let you get away with saying, I've lost confidence. Now, you can come in and be brutally honest, feeling like I've lost confidence. But again, it's about somebody saying to you, actually, you don't lose it. Let's get back to building it. Maybe you've become, as we all do, and we all are like this by default, we rely upon the boost of confidence because it's something that's easy to do. We like it. We get addicted to it. But ultimately, we've got to learn how to build confidence.
Hi everybody, and welcome to the Running Life TV. Thank you for tuning in, and hopefully you've been listening to all the episodes so far. But we don't want to just talk at you, we want to have a conversation with you. So we want to share something really exciting that is coming up, and we're inviting you to it. Now, Gareth, tell us what is happening on February the 20th.
On February the 20th, Leanne, we're going to have an online environment where we talk about the MVP plan and the MVP journey that we are encouraging people to get on board with. Many people have downloaded the MVP plan and may look at it and think, okay, this is a really useful tool, but how do I really take it and maximize it and help me to break out of that repeating pattern that's stopping me making progress in my personal or professional life?
That's good. So if someone's listening to this and thinking, okay, great, is this for me? Who is it for?
This is for anybody who is hungry to grow, humble to learn, and wants to become the MVP in their environment, in the space where they operate day in, day out. In other words, that person who stands out so that they can start to shape and influence that arena to produce positive outcomes, to produce great results. And so we want you, if you believe in your heart that you are an MVP, you have an aspiration to achieve great things, then we want you to be in this environment.
So how is it going to work? People might be thinking, is it in person? Is it online? What's the setup?
So we're going to be on Zoom, and we are going to have that environment where we can interact, where we can break down into groups. And so we're going to introduce you into that environment and explain how it's going to be a regular environment going forward that people can be part of, because we really believe that there is more in you than you think. but we all need somebody to help draw that out of us. And that's what the environment is for.
Well, I'm really excited to be there. I can't wait to start it. So come and join us on Monday, 20th of February. All the details of how you can sign up for this will be at thewinninglife.tv. Make sure you're there. We'll be there. We're excited to start this community. So see you soon. It's because otherwise, if we are just relying on the confidence boosters, that can become exhausting because we are at the mercy of other people's praise, opinion, critical comments, whatever. And we're not in control of that. And so we're constantly then looking for the next comment or pat on the back or whatever. And I think that just is exhausting, like I said, way to live. It reminds me of our heating system at home. We've got, a panel on the wall, and because I'm better at kind of those kinds of things, I set the boiler and the heater and all those kinds of things. So I've pre-programmed it for the hot water to come on at a certain time each day. I have to adjust it depending on how many of our family members are at home at the time. So that this morning I actually did have a cold shower, just saying, we ran out anyway. But I will pre-program that to build the hot water, to heat the water so that we have a water tank full ready for us to go. And that will then come on again, pre-programmed, because I've put that in to come again later on in the day so that we don't run out of hot water, theoretically. But then they have this option, this button called the boost button. Now that will often happen when you've been out for a run in the middle of the day and we've already used all the hot water, or I need to do something and we need some more hot water. And so you can press the boost button and it will give you an hour's boost of hot water to top up or to give you enough to get through. And when you're talking about that, reminding me of that, if I constantly just used the boost button for our hot water system, number one, we wouldn't have enough hot water to see us through because an hour's boost does not get through essentially 4 or 5 adults.
Definitely not.
But also it will wreck the system because it isn't designed to use just that small function on a daily, regular basis. It is therefore a boost. It is an addition. It's something that will help. It was something that will just build on top of what is already there. If I was to just continually every day just keep pressing the boost, it would essentially break the system. And that is exactly like our lives. If we are just relying on the confidence boosters, it will break our system. We will not be functioning in the way we've designed, in the way we've been created, because we are not building our confidence. We're relying on someone just to press the button every so often to help us on our way. And I truly believe that's not our created design.
100%. It's almost like we need a combi confidence, combi boilers.
Yeah, I prefer the combi boiler.
Yeah, combi boiler. In other words, those who've got combi boilers are probably saying, I love my combi boiler. And, it makes sure that you've got a constant source of hot water. So you don't even have to think about, pressing the boost.
Just switch it on and it's there.
And again, that can happen when we get the right things in the right order each day, starting each day with building belief. Again, like putting that foundation in there. We talked about it on a previous episode about, the fact that we're spiritual, emotional, we've got a mind, we've got a body, and we need to keep those 4 accounts, those 4 tanks, filled. And again, where we lose confidence when we underinvest in the spirit account. Yeah. And we then end up trying to get the boost in the soul, the feeling from outside in. But I think something you said there, I think is really important, and it triggered something in my mind. I remember I've been talking with people in sport about, when we are looking for confidence from others, that boost, it can affect performance. In other words, if you are performing, let's say, for instance, you're playing football, for those in America, soccer, and you are looking for that boost of confidence from the sideline, a coach or the crowd, and you're everything you're doing is about trying to get that boost. What happens is you don't play your authentic self. You play the version of yourself that you think they want, and as soon as you do that, You are not going to activate your potential, because your potential is released when you are in a line with your authentic self. And so in that moment, and again, it's a phrase that's often used in, between Christians about, living for an audience of one.
Yeah.
And I think it's a great reminder to say, do you know what? I've got to live from that audience of one. In other words, I'm made in the image of God, therefore it's living from my true identity. If I deliver a performance, if I deliver a conversation with somebody today, if I when I go into work, I don't try and become like that group that meet at lunchtime, but I play my authentic self. Do you know what? You will, number one, feel more satisfied, more at ease. The opportunities that are waiting for your authentic self to show up will you'll start to see them. They'll start to appear. They'll start to be attracted to you. But if you are living your inauthentic self based upon how you think other people want to see you, and that you want to gain that appreciation, that assurance, or whatever it is you want from them, that it's like living in a prison. It is like living in a prison, and it will never release your true performance. It will never release your highest and best contribution to this world. We really have to get back to living, performing for an audience of one.
And that, as you were talking there, I was thinking, actually, people who live for, other people, their opinions, their kind of confidence boosters all the time, are in danger of, over time, tipping into arrogance, because then it is about me, myself, and I.
Yeah.
So if somebody is not coming from the correct source, that isn't self-confidence. Then it's quite it's an arrogance of, well, I'm good, I'm great, I'm the best, which might actually be very true, but it's the heart from which it comes from. So when we have a constant source of no, my confidence is in God, my confidence is in knowing who I am, and it's been building all the time because I have the correct values in place and the correct disciplines in place. That's a steady, consistent confidence that we have. But if it's always, outside in, we have the danger of becoming so low in our confidence that we kind of are nothing and believe we're nothing, or we become arrogant, prideful. And I've seen that before, and maybe even in myself. And it's a really ugly trait. Arrogance is a horrible trait. And maybe you've seen that. Maybe you've seen it in yourself before. But the way to stop that is maybe it's not about self-confidence. It's about spirit confidence, living from the correct place, knowing that actually everything that I am, everything that I do, everything that I'm good at, and that I'm working on is not about me anyway, and I didn't create it because I'm a created being. It was put in me. So you kind of shift that. It's not like, oh, I'm so good at this, or I'm so great. You might be brilliant at it, and absolutely there's nothing wrong with saying, I know I'm good at this. But when it tips into that self-reliance, self-righteousness, all of those things, it can become but that's where confidence boost keeps that alive, because people are feeding the wrong appetite. We should be feeding ourselves. We should be encouraging ourselves. We should be relying on us to say to our spirit, talking to our spirit, come on, this is who you are. You can do this, and then you never have to rely on anything other than God.
Yeah, I think arrogance is artificial confidence. So it's a bit like, somebody you've seen these bodybuilders that kind of have these, and you get those bodybuilders who have taken steroids to create that external persona. Yeah. It's not true strength.
No.
It's not true strength. It's artificial strength. It gives the appearance of strength, but when tested, it will not produce the performance of that strength. Yeah. And again, it's the same when, and this is where perception can be deceiving. We can look at people and say, oh, that's a confident person. And again, it can be deceptive. Now, it's not for us to judge whether it's true confidence or not. Really, we're to be custodians of our own confidence. But don't be fooled into thinking that all confidence that you see is genuine confidence. It can be artificial. And if we're not careful, we can feed artificial confidence, like Leanne has said, through creating that strong persona. We do it through social media. We do it through embellishing truths to people, about what we've achieved. Exaggeration. That's the word, exaggeration. And again, we take something that is true, but then we overinflate it. In other words, we're creating artificial confidence. Because the thing is, when it comes to the next test, you know how you got that confidence.
Yeah.
You know it's not genuine. And so therefore the commitment that you make to the next choice is not going to be the same level and depth of commitment that somebody who has truly delivered on that, of building that strength. Like, they're going to know, I've lifted this before, and I know I got here by the true means. They're going to have a depth of conviction that the person who has artificial confidence, the steroids, will not have. Over time, the true confidence will be revealed. And it takes time. It takes testing. Yeah. But again, I want to encourage you, get in an environment like an MVP environment that says, you know what, we are committed, just like you are, to your potential. And that means being brutally honest with where we are right now and making great choices, great next steps, not avoiding the challenge because of a lack of confidence, because we don't trust ourselves. But again, realizing, okay, I can build confidence. If I have a relationship with God, then actually there's a depth to my confidence that is supernatural. So that's a whole nother level of confidence. Yeah. I have a heritage that isn't just based on my track record, but I now have a track record that comes from Christ in me. I mean, there's so much that we could say to this. But again, when I go and read the book of Ephesians, that reveals to me who I am in Christ. Yeah. Again, that's a resource that if I take that and build from that platform each day, that becomes a platform, or probably a better word would be a trampoline, from which I can, if you think about a trampoline, the height that you can get to is based upon how hard you hit it.
Yes.
And if every day I hit a truth, a principle, every day, the first thing I do, then the height that I can reach that day will be true, authentic confidence.
So maybe that's a challenge for us to take in to our day or the rest of the week or whatever, that when we look at our confidence is maybe challenge ourselves to go back into a situation or to face something that perhaps we felt that we lost confidence, saying that in inverted commas, avoiding, or maybe it's a situation you just need to go back into and challenge yourself and say, I'm going to do this again. I'm going to try this again. Might fail again, but it's not about actually the end result. It's about what it's doing in you. And obviously we talk about this in the MVP plan. It's all about the process. So actually, let's think of a situation. It could be something really tiny, but it doesn't matter, because don't forget, it's about building. Or it could be a huge step that you feel you're ready to take. But let's look at, where can I go back into doing something that perhaps I failed or didn't feel it was very good? And don't do it for the opinion or praise of others. Do it for God. If you're a Christian, do it for Him. But just do it to know that it's building confidence. It's building strength. It's building that spirit confidence that we know we've been talking about.
So remember today, there is more in you than you think. Let's put it to the test, because we know it to be true. Now let's see it in our experience as we set that goal and follow through and take it through to action. You can do it. We believe in you. And until next time, take care.
See you soon.
We hope that you enjoyed that episode. And if you enjoyed it, please go and subscribe over on all of our channels on YouTube, Instagram and Facebook, and not forgetting your favourite podcast platform. And if you head over to thewinninglife.tv, you'll be able to find all the resources available to you. Gareth has written several books which will help you on your discovery to building stronger and better lives. Come and join us for the next episode.